Hello everyone, and welcome to another build with me, Ryan, at retrowizardcreations. In this episode we are creating species number 64, T-OCELLUS, the alien eyeball from the new Alien Earth series. I personally would pronounce it Ocelus, but everyone else is pronouncing it Ocellus, so let's just go with the masses. Now first of all, let me just quickly address the things that are wrong with this build, because I actually started this after watching the first episode, and at the point of release for this video we were about 5 or 6 episodes in now, so clearly I got a bit carried away and dived in balls first, so there are a couple of small errors. First of all, I come to realise the eye doesn't even spin around. When I saw the eye climb out of the cat's face, I instantly wanted to build it, but in my haste I mistook it separating from a single iris into 7 separate irises as a spinning motion. Evidently, that doesn't happen. But who doesn't like a spinning eyeball? No one worth knowing, I hear you say. Exactly. So it's staying. And that brings me on to error number 2. I did notice a single iris was segmented and split up into multiple irises, but failed to count them, and naturally just split them up into 6 equal parts, so there are only 6 irises instead of 7. But I was already too far in when I noticed, and wasn't about to start again, because I wanted this video out quickly. Or as quick as possible, I should say. So what I'm saying is, just know that I know, because I know that you know. So let's just agree that everyone knows. Now let's get on with the rest of the build. I'm using some UV resin mixed with a few drops of black alcohol ink and pouring it into the holes I drilled for each iris and curing it before filling the coloured portion of each eye with clear resin before attaching them to the resin turner machine I built for making custom cups and tumblers. Obviously this clip has been sped up a little to show the process, but the spinning motors actually turn much slower in real time, and that allows the resin to flow evenly over the surface it's being applied to once you have covered it completely. This is just normal 24-hour curing resin I'm using for this process, and this really brings the eyes to life. But when you work with resin, taking the time to prep your work properly is imperative if you want successful results, else you waste a whole load of time and materials that ain't cheap, as you are about to find out. So, I'm a cunt. I noticed when it was spinning around on the first pour that it started to develop a couple of little fish eyes. Now if you deal with resin, you know what they are, but I decided to try and repair it as the resin was drying, so I kind of fucked it up, so I had to rub it down, do it a second time. But as this one didn't need repairing, but I still done that anyway, and now it's a cone head, and it has a whole bunch of air bubbles in the iris. You can't really see on camera, my lighting's kind of highlighting where that is, but so now I'm going to have to repair that again, but that's fine because I can do that. That can be spinning a third time with resin as I'm sculpting the body for this one. This is the important one. This is where the money shot's going to be. So, just annoying, being impatient. I know not to touch them when the resin's going around like that. You just have to wait and repair it when it's done. I know better, just being impatient, so kind of fucked that up a little bit, but hey ho, we're there now. Let's get on with the body. Shut it out there, Ryan. Quit telling me what to do. I've got to make the spinning part first, for absolutely no reason. So I'm using a small USB fan for the spinning motor because it's real quiet, and I'm just gluing it down to a bit of scrap wood from the floor of the Little Nightmares build I done for the first video on this channel. And then this is going to be screwed into some foam board I've cut that is going to go inside a coffee can for the base. I'm wrapping masking tape around a piece of metal tube I cut that will sit around the spinning shaft of the USB fan and fit snugly in the hole of the base. This will allow me to sculpt the body around the tube collar and be able to remove it and get access underneath and keep it separate from the eye so it can spin freely, for absolutely no reason. Things that stop the cork from popping off of wine and champagne bottles make for a good thin armature wire, and I'll be using these shortly for tentacles. But now it's time for the body. And I'm rolling out some living doll Sculpey into a cylindrical shape for what I guess is the eyeball's torso, and I'm pushing the eye down to help form the concave shape for the eyes to spin in, for no reason. And I'm using a clay extruder to cut a hole in the middle to slot over the metal collar. Just a little shaving down and let the sculpting process begin. Using the clay extruder again for the purpose it was built for this time, and using a teardrop shape to make the barbed rim that runs around the base of the eye. And then use some flush snips for plastic model kits to create the barbs. Now I decided to make one of the tentacles stretching out straight like he's about to grab someone's face, or swing from a tree over a crocodile like he's in Atari's Pitfall. But this wire is a bit too thin to hold the weight out straight without sagging, so let's cut this back off and make a stronger one shortly. This one can be flaccid and just hang around under his own weight. But let's redo this one and give it the Viagra treatment so we can hold it up for hours. Painting this thing is pretty simple because I use Living Doll Sculpey and it's already fresh coloured, so all that's needed are a few different shades of washes and a little dry brushing, and it creates a simple but dramatic effect. Especially when you are making something grotesque and gruesome looking with a wet or slimy texture. The best techniques are yet to come. A full coating of gloss Mod Podge to give it that moist look, and then back to the UV resin with some red alcohol ink and paint to give it that really wet and fresh gore look. And nothing makes a flesh monster / alien more freaky and realistic than big fuck off blue veins. Go. There's all the veins and all the juices put in there now. It looks pretty realistic. If this is what real eyeballs with legs looks like. That one big main vein on the trunk too. Always got to get that in there for extra realism. Everything needs a main vein. So these are the ingredients for some realistic looking blood vessels and veins. So for the blood and whatever, UV resin, berry wine Bordeaux folk art matte acrylic paint, some red alcohol ink, and for the veins, blue flash colour shift from folk art, and some purple alcohol ink. Just mix them together till you get to kind of shade and that you want. I mean, you don't have to use these colours, you could use other colours, but these are the ones that work for me. So mess around, see what works for you. I really didn't go to town on the base. It was more designed for the functionality of the motor for the spinning eyeball. That isn't necessary. But all I'd done was create the alien earth image and font in Procreate and print out the image on vinyl using a printer and a Cricut machine. Then cut a coffee can down and wrapped it in black vinyl with a small cutout for a USB cord to power the eye. That isn't necessary. And then just hot glued the foam board inside for a really simple base. And then finished it off with a decal on the face, which leads us to the glamour shots.